Far over to the west, on the Cape Free State border, Lord Roberts sent his advice to General Buller.
Ladysmith must be relieved. Let your troops know that the British Empire is in your hands, and that I have no possible doubt of their being successful.
And Buller did not resign. He pondered his options and he began to think of attacking the Boers' eastern flank. His first task was to remove all pockets of Boer occupation south of the Tugela River, and by February the 17th, 1900, the British were beginning to achieve this painful task. They drove the Boers off Monte Cristo Mountain, then off Hlangwane Hill and Green Hill, and finally he captured the village of Colenso. Buller became confident. He issued the order,
"Push for Ladysmith today, foot horse and artillery."
And then the entire British force, 25,000 strong, focused themselves at General Botha's 5,000 farmers. Dietlof van Wormelo, who was clearly a poet, stated, "Our fall was great. The two republics, being forced to venture on war against a powerful empire, felt themselves staggering under the heavy blow." When General Buller formally entered Ladysmith and met General Sir George White, he said, "Well done, Sir George," who replied, "I thank God we have kept the flag flying." Mr. Packer was in Ladysmith on that day.
And then when daylight came, of course, we marched into Ladysmith. And the first thing I noticed that when we went in was the clock tower, the town hall. It had a shell right through it in the clock.
Did the people in Ladysmith give you a good reception when you arrived, the garrison?
Well, they cheered and all that, see, and they was glad to see us.
Meanwhile, far over to the west of Natal, on the Cape Orange Free State battlefront, General Lord Methuen was in command of the British Army there. He was innocently confident and said, "My dear fellow, I intend to put the fear of God into these Boers."
He fought bloody battles there. On November the 23rd, 1899 at Belmont, on November the 25th at Grospan. Each time the Boers killed many British and then withdrew.
On November the 28th, Lord Methuen and his soldiers approached the Modder River. Waiting for them, silent and hidden under this southern bank of this muddy river, were the Boers, led by another military farmer genius, Koos de la Rey. As the British, about 8,000 of them, and led by the Guards Brigade, came closer, Lord Methuen said to an officer, "The Boers are not here. They're sitting uncommonly tight if they are, sir."
And at that moment the Boers blasted the Guards Brigade. Colonel Lang was there.
I suppose we must have been about 800 yards from the actual river, but then the place was absolutely bare. You couldn't have, well, I don't think a rabbit could have hidden there. And the result was that anybody who moved was shot at once, because we never saw a Boer mark killed. They were very well camouflaged in their very deep trenches and with the trees, all in the trees. They saw us easy enough. We never saw them. After a time, I personally got very bored with this, and I collected a few men to see if I can get round the flank in any way. Nobody told us to do anything. There were no orders or anything like that. And I crossed with some men at what we called the weir, and we went up the Boer side of the river, and eventually I got to a sort of it was a little farmhouse. And there I found Major Irvin of my regiment, more or less collapsed, poor fella. He had absolutely done in, and there was one man, he was dying on the kitchen table. As a matter of fact, he'd been shot through the stomach, poor fella. And that night, we lay there, and we actually heard the Boers taking the guns away. The next morning, of course, the troops advanced and found nobody there.
The Boers, under Commander General Cronje, and pursuing their normal strategy, pulled back northeastward in the direction of Bloemfontein, the capital of the Orange Free State. However, they decided to make a new battle stand at the Magersfontein Hills, some 7 miles distant.
Over here, on these Magersfontein Hills, Mr. van der Westhuizen was virtually watching and waiting for our friend, young Lieutenant Lang, to attack him. I asked the Boer soldier what was his first intimation that the British were planning to advance.
The day, Sunday afternoon, the balloon went up. The man in the balloon, he was looking at our positions. What did he see? I don't know. But we fired thousands of rounds at him. Now he was directing the guns. And that we come to the conclusion that they will attack tomorrow. Then every man that was away and was brought into the trenches that night.
We marched out in the middle of the afternoon, full daylight, in absolutely full view of the Boers, who were sitting on Magersfontein Hill opposite, with very good field glasses. They could have counted the number of soldiers that left Modder River. We marched through the night in wet weather, these awful wait-a-bit trees that broke us up in mass quarter column, everybody touching everybody else in all practical purposes. Nobody knew where the hell they were going, of course, and eventually we were fired into by the Boers. Mind you, the whole thing was very badly planned. To do an attack like that, going out in full view of the enemy. Damn silly thing to do, I thought.
What were your feelings, Colonel, at this sudden slaughter of the Highland Brigade?
It all seemed a part of the show. You knew jolly well you couldn't have a battle without losing somebody. It was merely a matter of luck whether you got hit yourself or whether you didn't. Of course, we very much missed fellows. When a fellow's killed in battle, you naturally miss him, don't you? There's really no time to mope at all. Reinforcements come up and take their place, and life goes on the same as ever.
The British had suffered a series of disasters, which they called Black Week. However, Her Majesty Queen Victoria would have none of it, as she announced.
I will tell you one thing. I will have no depression in my house.
On February the 6th, 1900, Lord Roberts and Lord Kitchener very discreetly boarded the ordinary scheduled mail train pointing northward.
These two military empire builders were about to command some 40,000 soldiers on that Cape Orange Free State front.